It's a brand new year, 2026. And we've already talked about, our favorite films of the year, the worst films of the year, the movies we're looking forward to the most in 2026. But, we are a movie news show. We talk about all the things that pop up in the world of movies and TV and streaming. And Rob, I thought it might be fun if we took a little time here to discuss our predictions, our forecast, things, big major things that we think we can expect to see happen in 2026. And then maybe at the end of the year, a year from now, we'll revisit this video. Sure. And see how close we were. So I want to give you guys 5 of my predictions for this year. Now, these are obviously not the only 5 predictions I have, but 5 big key predictions that I have. And we're going to run through them here, and then we're going to get 5 from Rob as well. And we're going to discuss the topics at hand. So let's jump over to this. Here are my 5 predictions for 2026. Starting with our first one, Lucasfilm leadership. Kathleen Kennedy isn't going anywhere. She's not leaving. Now, some of you, if you've watched my show for any period of time, you know that in around early 2024, I told you guys that I got told that it was a done deal. Kathleen Kennedy was out as the head of Lucasfilm, and that it would be somewhere around the end of the year, the end of 2024, that she would finally go. Now, you guys know I am of 2 things that are both equally true. Kathleen Kennedy is one of the greatest Hollywood producers of all time. You're an absolute moron if you don't acknowledge that. Her resume speaks for itself. That is true. But at the same time, just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're good at another. And I think she's been an absolutely terrible president at Lucasfilm. And I think she should go back to being one of the best Hollywood producers because she has not been good. And I've gone over my reasons ad nauseum about why I think she's been a terrible president at Lucasfilm. Not that I hate Kathleen Kennedy. I absolutely do not. I just don't think that's the job for her. And anyway, so I told you guys I got told this, she was out. And then after I told you guys that, several big outlets also started reporting that they had gotten the same information. But guess what happened? The end of 2024 came and went, and Kathleen Kennedy was still there. And then the end of 2025 came and went, and Kathleen Kennedy was still there. And I am now predicting, Rob, that the end of 2026 will come and go, and Kathleen Kennedy will still be there. And the reason I'm making this prediction is because I think the Star Wars thing that has the best shot right now of marking a turnaround is the upcoming Starfighter movie. And that doesn't come out till 2027. So my prediction for 2026 is that Lucasfilm will still see Kathleen Kennedy at the helm until the end of 2026, until at least 2027, because I don't think she's going to go anywhere until Starfighter comes out and it gives her an opportunity to leave on a relative high note. So that's my prediction. Agree or disagree?
I agree. I think you're absolutely correct about that. I mean, all right. You have 5. I agreed with all, just so you know, with all of yours that you sent me this morning. I thought they were all very astute.
Well, then let's get on then now, shall we, to the next one. So that's my first
But by
prediction.
the way, I mean, I have to say, people forget the Kathleen Kennedy issue. Do you know she's a member of that Kennedy family? The JFK Kennedy Center.
I honestly didn't know that. She's actually a Kennedy?
Yeah, she's an actual Kennedy. Yeah.
I didn't realize that. See, I learn something new every day.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah.
Let's get on to the next thing here then. So that was the one prediction. Now let's move on to prediction number 2. And my second prediction for 2026 is that a huge box office resurgence is going to happen. The box office will have its biggest year since the pandemic. Now, that's not a going way out there in left field prediction. That is something that has been talked about. There are other, entities out there that are kind of predicting this as well. A lot of the industry is predicting this as well, that it will be this big, big major thing. And listen to some of the movies coming out in 2026 that back this up. Project Hail Mary, By the way, Rob, I don't remember if you were on the show with me. Do you know what the number one trailer, the most viewed trailer of 2025 was? Any guess? No. Just take a guess.
Well, I would say Project Hail Mary.
That's a fine guess. It's a fine guess. It was the Devil Wears Prada 2 teaser.
Okay.
Was
totally
right?
Yeah.
I remember.
Well, you've been saying don't sleep on this movie because The Devil Wears Prada 2 is one of those. It's been almost 20 years, or it has been 20 years. Everybody always forgets because most of us on these talking about movies and things, predominantly it's mostly a male-dominated space.
Yes.
But when a female-friendly film comes along, that's why I said, everyone still says, Captain Marvel made money because it was between Infinity War and Endgame. I'm like, that's true. But it also gave.
That's, by the way, that's not true. Because if it was the only Marvel movie that came out between Infinity War and Endgame, maybe it would be true. But there were two Marvel movies that came out in between, and one of them came nowhere near $1 billion.
But it served the female audience, and it served the female audience well, which is something that we forget. And I'll tell you something. Devil Wears Prada 2, every daughter and mother are going to go see that movie. Because it's not just about, it's really about Meryl Streep is every woman's mother, and Anne Hathaway is every daughter. And that relationship that they have is metaphorically about every mom and daughter that ever existed on planet Earth. So that's why that film is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going, again, I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be $1 billion film, but I've had women in my life who were literally in tears when they were watching it. I mean, so it's going to be big. It's going to be big. So we got Project Hail Mary is coming, Rob, in 2026. Devil Wears Prada 2, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, a new Hunger Games film. The next Jumanji movie is coming out, don't forget. The Odyssey, Dune Part 3, Michael, which is probably going to be $1 billion film.
Toy Story 5.
Toy Story 5, Moana live action, The Mandalorian and Grogu, Super Mario Brothers, Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday. There's like 6 or 7 of these films that are legit potential $1 billion films. And a couple of these have, could, if they exceed, if they overperform, could hit the $1 billion mark as well. I mean, so that prediction, again, that 2026 will easily be the biggest year we've had the box office since 2019, which was the last full year we had prior to the pandemic. Rob, again, I'll throw it to you. Your thoughts on that prediction?
100%. And it 100%. And it ties in with one of my predictions, if I might add, because it goes there. I think that Avengers Doomsday is going to become the highest.
No, wait. No. I thought you were going to say something else. Hold that one.
Okay.
Hold that one till a little bit later, because I know the one you're going to say. I want you to hold it till a little bit later. All right. Let's move on to prediction 3. So first prediction, Kathleen Kennedy will still be there by the end of 2026, because I don't think she's going to go anywhere until Starfighter comes out. Prediction number 2, box office resurgence is going to be the biggest year at the box office since 2019. That moves us on to our next one. Streaming consolidation. Streaming bundles are going to become the norm. Streaming bundles are going to become the norm. We've already seen some experimentation with this. Now, and I'm not talking about Disney owns Hulu, Disney owns Disney Plus, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Peacock bundled with HBO, bundled with something else for a lower price. Even right now, I think it might have been Verizon that was fooling around with the Disney Plus, HBO Max, Hulu bundle deal, where the ultimate price of it was about 35% cheaper than if you had each one of them individually. We're going to start seeing places like Roku, maybe even Apple TV, things like that will offer these bundles where you can get pick 2 or pick 4 or pick 5, and you'll end up getting like 30% discount for getting them all together. Rob, we've already seen through the little experimentation they've been doing with some of these bundles already, because you and I agree that the number one enemy of streaming services is churn. When people just get it for a few weeks to watch the show they want to watch, then cancel, right? They want to stop that. And they have already shown that when people have bundled packages, they are less likely to churn. And so I think by the end of 2026, we are going to see some major, major moves incorporating bundles into it. Do you agree, disagree? How do you think that'll play out? What do you think?
I think I totally agree with that, because it's getting to the point where, look, we're reaching a saturation point with everything, whether it's subscriptions that you have for software, whether it's apps you're paying for, streaming services. It's just getting to the point where there's only so much money to go around, and streaming services are going to suffer, I think, in the long run, more and more churn, unless they figure out something to stabilize this from happening. And that I think the obvious thing to do is you go into bundle up. Getting 3 streaming services to bundle or more will stabilize the subscription model, and it will eliminate churn. You just have to figure out what are those bundles going to be and which ones are the ones that you most want. So I think it has, not only will it happen, it has to happen.
All right. Let's get on then to my 4th prediction. Because if the first one is Kathleen Kennedy not leaving, the box office resurgence, bundling, here's prediction number 4. AI transparency, in the sense that an AI identification system, like all organic or all natural labels that get put on certain foods in like grocery stores and stuff like that, will come out. See, there's a movement, and I've seen conversations about this around there too. There's a movement that says that either, ban AI, or you should have AI warning labels on anything that is fake and AI. But I've heard arguments say it's going to be easier to label something that is free of AI. And I think you're going to start to see that. I think somewhere around the middle of the year, you're going to have, it'll start with YouTube, and it'll start with certain creators on YouTube. But I think it'll spread that this movie was completely created by artists and whatever, and is free from AI generation. I think that's going to become a label that some shows, streamers, movies are going to use as a badge of honor, a badge of pride, or something like that. But yeah, I think instead of seeing badges warning that this content contains elements that were generated with AI, instead of going that route, they're going to go the other route where people get to slap a label on it saying this movie is AI free. I think that's going to become something, Rob, in this year that you're going to start to see some of these studios start to employ. It's a bigger topic for sure, but I don't know. Agree with that? Disagree with that? Which direction do you see that going in?
Oh, I totally agree with that. I've made no secret of the fact that I've been dabbling in various things with AI. I made an album. Now I'm working on making an app, and I think there's something that is, I think, that isn't really considered, is that a lot of people think you just write a prompt, hit a button, and you come up with a result. That's true. You can do that. But
Rob seems to Rob froze.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, there he is. You're back. You're back.
I think AI can be a very powerful tool when it's employed by humans. Now, what's going to happen is, I think that label will be, there's going to be various, like, this is 100% AI generated. This was human beings using 50% AI or using AI tools. Or, like you said, there is going to be the same way you get an organic label. I think this entertainment was organically produced. We're already used to that. And I think something along those lines is going to happen, because I do think that traditional more forms of production are important. And I don't think that we can see AI generated movies now that are very impressive, but I don't know if you can make a fully sustainable 2.5 or hour, 90-minute or 2-hour movie entirely by AI. And I think it's going to be a little while before we're going to be able to be accepting of that kind of thing. And I think we're going to have a problem. AI is going to put a lot of people out of work. So one of the other things about the entertainment business is people are going to want to know that actual human beings are responsible for the entertainment that you're watching. So I think you're absolutely right. I think it's going to be a label.
All right. Let's now go on to my 5th big prediction for 2026. And that big prediction is that TV season shift is going to happen. More streaming shows are going to start to move, or we're going to hear about them going to start to move to annual seasons. One of the banes of my existence as a streaming fan is this nonsense that season 1 of a show comes out. Yay! And guess what, guys? Only 4 years until season 2. It has been one of the dumbest things. Like, with 99% less technology available to them, TV shows for years have been able to produce 22 episodes every year on schedule, like clockwork, no problem. But now, a 6-episode season needs 3 years to get season 2 out. I hate that. Now, a part of that, I think, is, the whole figuring out, remember, streaming is still a brand new thing in terms of history. It's really, really a brand new thing. And people getting it worked out. But last year's number 1 show, The Pit, guess what's coming out in a couple of days? The 2nd season, just 1 year later. We've already heard, Rob, we talked about it on the show a little while ago, that the showrunners of Daredevil has said, Daredevil's going to be an annual show. Daredevil, we're not going to have 3 years between seasons. Daredevil is going to come out a new season every year. That's what Daredevil's going to be. We've started to hear that talk now about other shows as well. And I think as we go through 2026, we are going to get word throughout the year about more and more predominant shows on streaming are going to start moving towards a yearly release of new seasons. I don't think necessarily we're going to get back to proper season episode counts. Like, I don't think we're going to get back to like 20 episodes or anything like that. There will be things like The Pit that I can't remember how many episodes they had, 14 or something like that, which is great. Probably a lot of them will stick around the 8 to 12 range, but it'll be nice to get back to be able to look forward to the new season of a show you love next year. And I think that's going to be one of the trends that we see, not for everything, but I think we're going to see it increase a lot. Rob, agree or disagree, good or bad?
Totally agree, and it's a good thing. I mean, the whole point of these shows is to be entertaining. And if you like a show, I think everybody knows this, when it's so long between seasons, even though they have recaps and things, the momentum you feel toward a show it just disappears. And it's almost like you're watching a brand new show and you have to start over again and go, oh yeah, I remember now. I mean, there have been times when I've watched shows that have taken a long time to come back and I don't remember the first season at all. Like, who are these people? And I don't like that. I don't think that's what the people who make these shows want. And I think with everything that happens and all the entertainment that's available to us, it's just a natural function of the way things are, the way humans perceive things. If years go by before you see a season, it's not nearly as gratifying. And we've seen it happen, John, when another season of a show will come back and people watch it for the first couple of days or couple of weeks, and then it's out of sight, out of mind again. And that's not a good thing for anybody trying to build an entertainment franchise that has any kind of longevity. You don't want people to be waiting for it.
And here's a question, Rob, I want to put to you. Tell me if you think what I'm saying is basically true or basically not true. One of the most technically post-production heavy, tricky shows to produce of its time was Star Trek: The Next Generation. And they didn't have nearly the amount of tools or anything that they have today. And yet,
26 episodes a season.
Somehow this show found a way that almost like clockwork had its new season debut every single time right up until the point of All Good Things, the final episode, 2 episodes of it. I mean, so I'm kind of over the excuse of, well, there's a lot of post-production. So have other shows, and they found a way to make it work. So I'm ready for them to get to it. So guys, that is my 5 major predictions that by the end of the year, Kathleen Kennedy will still be at Lucasfilm, for good or for bad. We're going to see the biggest box office year since the pandemic. We're going to start to see, it's going to become a normal thing to see on the regular streaming bundles. I think we're going to start to see creators using an AI, free of AI badges of some sorts on their programming. And I think we're going to start hearing about more and more predominant streaming series that are going to be moving themselves towards an annual release schedule. So, Rob, those are the ones I have. But you and I were texting earlier this morning, and you had a couple of really cool ones. So I throw the floor open to you for a couple of predictions you may have as well to add to this list.
Well, okay, people are going to call me a shill. I don't care. I think that Avengers Doomsday is going to become the highest grossing movie of all time. And look, you'll find out. You'll find out whether I'm right or wrong in a year. But I honestly believe that. I believe that everyone's gonna, but what about phases 4, 5, and 6, Rob? No. I go back to Colton's video about how this is kind of a direct sequel to Endgame, which it kind of is. And I think that this movie is going to make, as we always say, but it's never really been true, but for this movie, it is true. It's going to make all the money. Now, a lot of people are going to say, how there's no build up to it. I'm like, you know what the buildup is? Your entire life, because you know who Dr. Doom is. And there's all these questions about, Robert Downey Jr. coming back and playing a character. I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's playing a character. He's playing Victor Von Doom. We all know who Victor Von Doom is. And if you've read the Secret Wars comic, you kind of know what we're in for. I would suggest going back and looking at that. But I do believe that Avengers Doomsday is going to be the highest grossing movie of all time.
You know what, Rob? Here's the thing. I did a video the other day where I basically broke down, one of the big challenges is going to be facing, and these are true and these are real. There's going to be some obstacles Doomsday with its box office potential because of the fact that, every other Avengers film that has come out has had massive momentum leading into it. Like banger after banger after banger MCU films leading into an Avengers film, right? And this one doesn't have that benefit. This one is actually, coming out at a time when the environment of the MCU is hit or miss. And the overall enthusiasm for the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now is nowhere near as high as it has been historically. That doesn't mean that it's not going to do great. It just says it's got some obstacles it's got to overcome. And I've said for a long time that I think it'll be big, it'll be over $1 billion, but it's not going to be the $2 billion film that, some of the other things have. I've changed my mind on that. Now, I don't know. I don't know that it'll become the number one box office film of all time as you're predicting. But I don't think you're as crazy for saying that I may have thought you were 2 weeks ago.
Right.
2 weeks ago, I would have certified. I think you would have been certifiable if 2 weeks ago, if you had said to me that Doomsday was going to be the biggest film maybe of all
John,
time.
2 weeks ago, I would have called myself certifiable.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge, but I'll say this. Do you know what Avengers Doomsday has going for it that no other Avengers movie had previous to that?
What's that?
Nostalgia. Because we now have nostalgia for the time when Marvel movies were great. And what have we already seen? I think this is what's genius. You know who you've missed? You've missed Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
We're going to give him back to you. You haven't seen him on the big screen in 7 years. You missed after Love and Thunder and the goof fest of that. You've missed God Thor. You've missed Thor. You missed Kenneth Branagh, Shakespearean, powerful Thor. We've given him back to you. You know what you missed? You missed getting the true Cyclops that you've always wanted to see. You knew he was there. You never got him in a movie. You get him back in X-Men 97. You got him back in the animated series, but you never got him. You know what we're going to do? We're not only going to give you Cyclops the way you've never seen him, we're going to put him in Jim Lee's outfit and the animated series outfit, and we're going to show him tear off that visor and wreck shop the way you have always wanted to see, and you never got to. What they're doing in this movie, it's like Walter White cooking up the perfect batch of meth. We are getting the we're getting the Walter White version of the MCU. We've been getting 65% MCU for the last 5 years. Walter White's going to come along, and when Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers and McFeely and anybody who apparently everybody and their brother is in this movie, they're going to do whatever they can to give us that 98% pure Peruvian flake of the imagination in Avengers Doomsday. And you know what? Because it has to be. It's the greatest Hail Mary in the history of Hollywood, except it's not. They're spending, they got the tools, they got the talent, they got apparently all the time in the world. It doesn't matter how long the movie is. They got Dr. Victor Von Doom, who why hasn't even, they made a Fantastic Four movie and he doesn't show up until the post-credit scene. I'm telling you, this movie is going to be the Walter White pure meth version of an Avengers movie, and they're going to reclaim their throne, and we're all going to be clapping. I want to give context because I don't want us to be disingenuous with our audience here. So let me give some context of this. For those of you who don't, maybe you're new around here, you just started watching the show. For those of you who don't watch the show regularly, right up till recently, Rob has been very skeptical about Avengers Doomsday. Yes.
To the point that he's going, all right, fine, I'm going to choose to look forward to it. I'm not. True. But I'm gonna choose to look forward to it. I don't even. Choice. Well, how many times have you said this, Rob? We don't even know who the Avengers are right now, which is true. Which was true when you would say that all the time. And then in our private conversations, yeah, man, this is gonna be maybe the first Avengers movie that flops and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, again, we want to make sure we're not disingenuous with our audience here. Blah, blah, like we learn about the movie. And in learning about the movie, we now get the Robert Meyer Burnett you see in front of us today.
Hey,
who is completely gushing about it.
I've always said when you get new information about something,
rational people,
yeah.
When new information is introduced, you reevaluate your position. Yes. That's what intelligent people do.
Yes. And I will tell you this. No one knows how the state of the Marvel universe has been. No one knows it better than Marvel itself. And they knew, like John, you pointed out, the Russo brothers made 4 banger Marvel movies, their most successful movies. So they go back and they get them as the director. They brought back half of the writing staff of those movies and other writers that have done great work. They are giving us, they decided, okay, well, what are we going to do? And they're Walter Whiting this. That's what they're doing. And they're cooking up something good. And I didn't believe that until about 2.5 weeks ago. And now I believe it utterly. And but I'm setting myself up. But I do think it's going to be, I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to get my tickets as soon as they go on sale for the first IMAX 70 millimeter, whatever screening they're going to have. I ain't going to miss it. Because it's going to be a hoot.
Now, we could talk about this all day, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more later.
My next one, you said not to, I got to say this, though, because I think for entertainment news, I think that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the biggest video game of all time. I think it's going to have the biggest launch. I think it's going to have the biggest multiplayer component when they get that cooking. They've delayed it. I expect the same way I think about Avengers Doomsday. I think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the biggest video game launch of all time, and it's going to quickly become the fastest. It's going to smash a bunch of records, and I wouldn't be surprised if they finally announced the very first Grand Theft Auto movie. With video game franchises going the way they're going, I think Grand Theft Auto, the movie, will show up, and they'll probably get people involved that we wouldn't expect.
Yeah, but here's a big problem with your prediction. You're assuming it comes out in 2026.
Well,
and if we've learned anything, it's like I'm sorry, it's like Blade at this point. At this point, Grand Theft Auto is like Blade. Sure, it'll come out. But okay. But you had another one. Another prediction that I thought was really interesting. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
The short form mobile content?
No, not that one.
Oh, yes. I think we're going to see the first completely AI generated character. We've seen an actress, but we're going to see the first completely AI generated character either star in a movie or a TV show or co-star in a movie or a TV show. Now, that could be a robot in a Star Wars show, but I think it's going to be a human character. I think it's going to be a human looking character. We are going to have the first AI generated character. And I think the voice, it'll be entirely AI generated. It's not going to be voiced by someone else. It's going to be an entire AI character.
Now, okay, I love that prediction. I completely disagree with it, but I love that prediction. I mean, look, I think at some point that's coming. Here's the reason why I'm going to disagree with you, and convince me otherwise if you think there's a way there. But here's the issue I have with that is that I think even with the rapid advancement, I think we're a long way away from that because it's tricky just to make an all AI, because you sent me an AI generated thing earlier today and it was painful to watch. I mean, it was painful.
Ridiculous.
But now you're talking about creating an AI character and making it 100% match. Like, it's hard enough to make it look and move right when everything's AI generated.
I know.
Having it to actually blend in with and match a physical environment, I don't think we're near that yet. I don't think we're anywhere near that yet. But I mean, I love the prediction. I love that one. So we'll see. We'll see if they're able to get to that point.
I think another prediction is we've seen it with anime, with like K-pop Demon Hunters, but that was pretty much domestically produced. But Demon Slayer, 2026 is going to be the year where international content is going to have its best year ever. Whether it's animation, whether it's music, we're going to see international, and a lot of it, you know, Netflix drives that because Netflix has been putting shows. I mean, they gave us Squid Game, which is Korean. And you know what? I've never heard anybody ever say that they didn't watch Squid Game because it was for a foreign film, whether it was subtitles or they saw it with
I heard a few people say they didn't watch it because they didn't want to read subtitles, but you're right. I never heard anybody say it was because it was foreign.
Yeah, it was foreign. I mean, I think Squid Game proves anybody that had any, like, I've been watching foreign films my whole life, but it shows that a Western sensibility can watch an Eastern sensibility show and love it just as much. And I think we're going to get international content from around the world, which I'm very excited about because I think it's great. And I think it shows there's nothing that unifies a people more than entertainment from all around the world. So I think that's great. And an adjunct to that, another thing I think that's going to rise that we're going to see more and more of is the power of the limited series. We saw like
Stranger Things. Seen that expand just in the last couple of years.
Yes, and I think it's going to get, and it's shown that you can have a limited series that isn't necessarily contingent upon having year after year after year after year. Like we saw things like The Queen's Gambit and Godless that Scott Frank made. You know, we saw his other department, was it Department D, or the detective show that was set in Scotland? That was his latest miniseries that they're actually renewing. But I think we're going to see more and more of that because you can spend the money, and if it works, if the miniseries like that Department D show or whatever, I forget the name of it, it's Department something. They renewed it because it was good. You know, but I think that we're going to see a lot more limited series shows getting made because they act as, instead of just making a pilot, they work well as a limited show. But if they have extreme success, then you can do a second season without having to commit to a series.
Well, what was the one with Nicole Kidman and the one where they end up murdering the one's husband?
The sister, that's a British one, but
no, it wasn't his sisters. It was called, guys in the live chat, help us out. I think Reese Witherspoon was in it as well.
Yeah, like Pretty Little Liars or
Dirty Secrets or Dirty Lies or whatever it was. Anyway, like that one was supposed to be a limited series.
Right.
But the thing was, it was so wildly successful and everybody wanted another. Big Little Lies. Thank you.
Big Little Lies, yeah.
Damashi was the first one to put that. Big Little Lies. That was supposed to be a limited series, and all of a sudden they did a second season. More recently, Shogun. originally designed to be a limited series, but it was so good, the best thing that's been on television in decades. It was so good and won all the Emmys that they were like, let's do another one. And so I think you're right. I think we're going to see the spreading of that. And, it's almost going to be used like backdoor pilots. I think limited series are going to be used like backdoor pilots in many ways. Anyway, guys, that's all the predictions we have, at least the ones we're going to talk about here today. What did you think about some of the predictions that we had? And do you have any predictions of your own about things that we might be able to expect to see coming in 2026? Jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.